Right, so we're here with our Season 2 tutorial from the wonderful Vitasoy. Hello, Vitasoy.
Hello.
Hiya. I've actually gone on a little bit beyond the end of Season 2 just because I had time to do it. So that we're a little bit beyond it. I sent Vitasoy the save on the 10th of October, as you can see. We're going to kind of treat this tutorial using both last season and the beginning of this season. So, Vitasoy, kick us off. What are we going to look at first?
I think because I see your Season 3 squad, I'd like to take a look at your transfers. Because I feel like your squad is definitely worse than it was from the second season.
Okay.
I don't know if I should be looking at the third season.
It's fine. That's fine because bear in mind that this is no longer a competition, so it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, I thought we were just going to focus on the second. So
mainly focusing on the second, but let's focus on where we are now. So if there's something you've noticed for this season, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah. So I'd really like to take a look at your signings because I feel like I feel like your squad is worse, and then
I think I probably agree, although I don't think there's a lot in it. I couldn't do a huge amount, as you've seen, because of the finances situation. But go on, talk me through what you think I got wrong.
Because when I look at your results from the second season, they're not bad. They're pretty good.
I agree. I had a good season, particularly the second half of it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
We didn't lose after the 3rd of February.
Lose. Exactly. And then looking at you right now, you're having a rough start. Well, not rough as in bad. It's
not as good as it was. Certainly, I don't think it's terrible, but it's not too bad. I think we've lost 2 league games, but we've had a few draws too.
3, I think.
No, it's 2.
Yeah.
Two defeats, 2 draws, and 4 wins. Certainly nowhere near as good as it was.
Yes. So when I look at your transfers, I feel like you're spending money in the wrong places, and then you're selling pretty decent players and letting them go on freeze. I don't like how you let Dubé go, your fullback, because I know you. I saw you when you signed him. You said you thought Keenan Phillips would be better.
Yeah.
But Dubé is still really good because he has a good crossing, he has good pace, and it's you're using him as a fullback on defend, right?
Yes. So, let me just check its defend. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
That probably should change with Phillips, to be fair, but go on.
Yeah, as a fullback on defend, I think when I look at him, he's pretty good defensively.
I agree.
12 marking, 13 tackling. You're not.
Yeah.
And then you signed Phillips, I think.
Beginning of previous season. I got him for free.
His weight. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, but his wages, if you want to,
huge. Yeah.
What about wages? He's making. On my screen it's per week, but he's making 4.4 thousand a week, which is what your
200 grand a year.
It's your top 4 earner. When I think Dubé was on for cheaper.
He was quite a lot cheaper. Yeah, I can't remember exactly how much cheaper, but he's on 86 now, so I'm guessing it was probably half-ish, roughly. What Phillips is on. Yeah, I agree with you.
If you're worried about finances, you should have held on to Dubé. I feel like the Phillips signing was kind of pointless.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I think when I got him, because Phillips originally I couldn't get him for various reasons. Basically, he didn't want to come. He wanted to stay at Swallows.
Yeah, I saw.
He then got released, and I thought, well, this is an opportunity I can't. I do think he's a fair bit better than Dubé. I get what you're saying, but I still think it was probably the right decision. He's done quite well. He was over 7 last year, which I think for a fullback is very, very good.
Yeah, it's not bad, but I feel like based off of what you're trying to use him for and attributes, he's not. I wouldn't say he's a lot better. I'd say he's maybe slightly. So I would have held on to.
I wonder if one thing I could do to try and improve that situation is to switch around my wingers and fullbacks so that Phillips is the more attacking of the two. Because the left back is certainly nowhere near as strong. Whoever I play with.
You could switch that around, sure. And then
Might
I
do that
think
now.
on the right, Takazi is a left-footed winger anyways.
That's true, yeah. So, switch him to inverted and him to winger. Yeah, I agree. I think that's going to be better. Was it on full-back defend or wing-back defend?
Yeah, sorry?
Full-back defend or wing-back defend? I can't remember.
You're right. Phillips was playing full-back on defend.
Full-back defend. I'm never quite sure what the difference is between a wing-back defender and full-back defender. Is it just that full-back's a little bit more defensive?
Yeah, basically a wing-back would still step up and make crosses if he needs to.
But just not as much, whereas a full-back probably won't do that much at all.
No, full-back, most he'd probably do is step up into, like, slightly above your center backs, maybe venture out, but not as far as a wing-back.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, right, so we've got... That's one change that we made straight away, and I can see straight away how that could certainly help. I assume, by the way, and I've been doing this for a while, I assume wing backs and full backs, it should always be kind of wing back with either an inverted winger or an inside forward, and full backs with a winger. Is that generally a good rule to stick with?
Well, depends on your fullback role.
Sure.
If you're doing, say, fullback on attack, I'd probably have an inside forward.
Right. Okay. So it's more about whether it's defending or
forwards,
attacking than it's wing back or fullback.
Yeah, but in saves, usually I'd always have either I have two wingers or two inside forwards.
Okay.
Inside forwards, they still start out wide, but then it's in possession only when they start sitting in the half spaces.
The reason I do it is because I like the idea of having like an overlapping player, but obviously you don't want to do that on both sides because you're going to be really vulnerable defensively, and that's my thinking.
No, you could have both players overlapping. Mm-hmm. That works.
Okay.
In a 4-2-3-1 tactic, you can easily see your wing backs
right. So
overlapping.
If you're going to do that, you kind of got to go with the double pivot in defensive midfield.
When you have the 4-2-3-1, even with the two DMs, when you have them on support, they're still looking to they still sometimes end up in the box, but usually sit at the edge of the box. So you'd have only two center backs in the back, but I mean at that point, since you're probably hemming in your opponent into their own box, and since you have that much pressure when they clear, their strikers are probably still not as high as as the opponent wants them to be. So that's why you want to play with a high line, because if you play with a lower line, it allows their lower line. So instead of your center backs stepping above the halfway line, they're sitting at it or slightly below it.
Yeah.
It allows their strikers to sit at the halfway mark, so they have a head start basically, and when they clear, it's easier to get it to them. Whereas if you had the higher line, what it does, it's essentially just pushing hemming your opponent back in so they can't get out their own box as easily.
Yeah.
That's basically why you have to always run a high line.
Yeah, no, that certainly makes sense, and it's the high line. I think it feels to me like the high line is the thing that's made the biggest difference of all the things you said for the previous season, because I've certainly seen a lot more pressing. It still doesn't happen as often as I'd like it to, but I mean I think that's more to do with the quality of the players. But Go on.
I feel like for the high line, no matter what tactic, it's probably because I feel like if you used your old tactic, I think I did that when you first gave it to me. I just put them on a high line, high press, and we won the game right after.
So that was the only change you made, and it was really good.
Basically, yeah. So that I was looking at the save, and then I didn't want to change too much to see what would happen if I just implemented the high line with the pressing, and immediately the win was also against Orlando Pirates too. So
they're a decent side. They're not quite the best, but they're a decent side certainly.
No, they're still really good. They're still really good, and I mean they're staying second now. But yeah, so high line was a big impact. Also for transfers, I was looking through them. I know you brought in Calrezi as your new striker,
Hmm.
but I still feel like who was the other guy?
The old guy.
Who was Ndaba or Kasi were still pretty good.
Uh,
Especially Ndaba. You could have kept Ndaba. He's on such low wages. And then Karelzi is on 4.9 a week, which is a lot. Which is
Where is
like
Ndaba?
220-ish, I think.
Yeah, he's certainly been expensive for sure. He's on 219. He's one of the top four for sure. Did I sell Ndaba? Yes, I
It's
did.
either
No, I
loan or
sent him
sold.
out on loan. Okay. Okay. I mean, Ndaba when he did play wasn't very good, so that was my thinking there. But obviously that's also partly because of
You,
the tactic, and I completely get that.
I saw he only made 5 appearances
Yeah, that's also true.
in
I mean, so I'm
25-26.
looking
And
at
then,
their comparison now, and it's like Ndaba is quicker and he's better in the air. The Karelsi though is much better technically, and I think that when I looked at Karelsi for the first time, that was the thing that kind of stood out to me, the technical aspect of his game, because I think in terms
but,
of pure skills, he's probably the best player in the team, certainly one of.
but I, but with the striker, I think those stats that matter the most are your physicals, your
Yeah.
finishing, and then was it composure off the ball.
Hmm.
And then when you look at that, Ndaba is probably the same for way cheaper. And then when you look at him on loan he played at Amazulu for 8 games and scored in half of those and assisted once.
Really, God.
Yeah. So, I mean, Karelzi isn't doing bad, but I feel like when you're looking at wage budgets and everything, you might as well not have spent this money on Karelzi, and you could have looked at, I would say, a better center back or a better keeper.
Hmm. So it's just perhaps,
Because
although he probably is a bit better, it's probably not worth that amount of extra money.
he
Whereas
wasn't worth
a defender could have
exactly.
been. Yeah, that does make sense.
He's not. I don't think he's worth that money whatsoever.
Hmm. Fair enough.
Especially, it's like because then there's in the new format, you guys are also looking at wage budgets,
Yep.
and right now you're overspending. So I was just looking at what I would have done, especially with the signings.
Yep.
So I would not have brought in Karelzi. I would have stuck with some of your like players that you've sold. And then
Just
when
trying to think
looking
who
at
we
because you
sold. Did we actually sell a striker as well? I can't remember. I know we loaned out Ndaba. Did I sell one?
no, Ndaba you sold I think at the
No,
end you
Ndaba's
sold Ndaba
was
and
loaned, I
then
think, wasn't he?
Kasi let out
No,
on
you're absolutely
free.
right. Sorry, yeah, and Kossi as well. Yeah,
Yeah, so I felt like
could have just
that's
stuck
your
with him.
like I feel like you could use at least one of them. You could have sold the other, because then you brought up an academy player.
Matong.
So
This guy.
so I felt like you could have just kept one, sold one, and then when I was watching your stream when you brought in Mahango, I felt like that was also an interesting decision
Presumably
on
because
a
of his age.
free, I think. A striker in Mahango on a
Yep.
free for
Yeah.
2.1k per week, so that's 100k a year.
Yeah. No, it was certainly. It was certainly.
Uh,
I knew it was a lot of money to be spending. I think at the time I really did need someone. That wasn't. There was no one scoring goals for me at all at that point, and he came in and did do a good job. But I agree, it was a lot of money.
that is true. It's 11 goals, but like when I look at a striker who's 162 centimeters, I feel like that should not be somebody worth signing. But I mean, he did get goals, but I'm surprised that he got goals.
With him in the team, he was clearly not going to get lots of headers. I knew that. But
Yeah.
I think he was at the time he was the best finisher I could find, and he was quicker. He's now 10 pace. He was quicker than that before. I think he might have been 12 when I signed him. So I thought with the pace and the finishing, and he was playing as an advanced forward as well, I thought he would get the goals, and he did. He got the goals that I needed him to. I knew he wasn't going to be a long-term thing, obviously, with his age and stuff. But I think, and also 100,000, although it's quite a lot of money, it's not like bank-breaking. I think Karelsi is huge, and I'm thinking about it now. I think you're probably right that it's not worth it. I think he's going to do really well for me. And I think if I was playing a bit more long term, the other thing I would perhaps factor into there is that I probably will make quite a big profit on him if and when I wanted to sell him, because he's only 24. And the transfer fee is, it's big for us, but I should be able to make a profit. But I agree. Look, I mean, based on the fact that we're playing 4 years and we're playing, based partly on wage budgets not being kept under control, it was probably a mistake, I imagine. Yeah.
No, yeah, but also with Mahango, he's still on your team and he's getting paid to do nothing. So
that's also true.
So when I'm looking at your wage budget, well, I'm looking at per week, but you're spending 62,000 per week. Your wage budget is 61,000. That's already, let's just say, 5,000 off. So you're already under the budget by 4,000, where you could spend elsewhere. And then you've also signed. Who did you sign for center back? You signed Cross as your center back. 1.4 thousand per week, not bad. But I feel like he's just not good enough.
I mean, I agree. I was
jumping, reach, and heading.
I was really struggling with defenders. I couldn't find anyone. He was just the best of a bad bunch.
I went to the scouting center.
Mm-hmm.
I filtered out center backs. I already found like 2 decent players that you could have signed.
Go for it.
So one guy, his name is Bilal Baloyi. You had him on loan. I feel like he'd be a really good center back. He has good pace, good jumping reach, good heading. He's good marking, good heading. He's like 6'1", which would probably be your tallest center back.
Yep. Yeah, you're right.
So
he would be good.
And then I don't think he'd cost much either.
The only thing I would worry about, and I don't know how much you think this matters, but like if you look at his history, he's not been good at all at any club he's been at. He's been at lots of clubs. He's never been good.
But the clubs depends if they're good or not.
Of course, yeah. I get that bit. I get that. I agree. Looking at him, it looks like he probably would be better.
Richards Bay right now, they're 14th. Super Sports United, I don't know what their history is, but I'm pretty sure they didn't have any like high finishes.
Mm-hmm. Super Sport, I think they're a decent side, and they're 4th now.
He was there at the start of his career, though.
Yeah.
So
they're kind of an upper mid-table club, really.
And then Tux United, in what division is this? I don't know what he played in the National First Division in Chad.
Wow.
Is that Chad? No, sorry. No, No, that's the 2nd division of the South African division. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's not played for a good club, and his attributes are really good. 14 jumping reach. That's really good. And then the second guy I looked at was Aiden McCarthy. He's what, 6'2", and you can sign him on a free. Well, let me see what his agent would ask. He's not asking for a lot of money. He only wants 1,000 per week.
I've got him on Kaiser Chiefs.
Yeah, he's on Kaiser Chiefs. Yeah.
But they will sell him for free, will they?
He's on a free. Yeah, you could get him for a free. Just need compensation, I think.
Nope.
That's what it says.
That's weird.
It says all you need to offer is compensation for me.
That's not what I've got.
But
never mind. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I agree. He also looks better than what I've got for sure.
But instead of like spending the 200,000 on Karelza, you could have purchased a good center back who can also cover. He has good pace. He's 6'2", 6'3". He has height. He's quick enough, and he's both-footed. He could cover your right back too. I mean, he's versatile. He's a good player. So I think those, instead of signing, I mean, Fleurs is also, I'd say, decent, but you'd probably save at least like $1,000. So that's $50K per annum on the other 2 signings. But I'm pretty sure you signed them at the Was it at the end of the season or
I mean, I signed Fleurs for the previous season. He's been around for a while. Cross is new.
Cross is new? Okay. Yeah, so I think it's just when you look at your finances, where you should save and where you should spend.
Yeah.
I feel like when looking at your squad, you should have spent way more on your defense instead of the striker, because I
So
think
maybe
your
looking at
strikers are
balancing a
smart.
little bit more the kind of the balance between the money I spend on the defenders and the money I spend on the attackers. I always think about attackers as being the ones I should be spending the most money on, but I mean, should it be kind of what kind of ratio should it be usually? Should it be kind of the same amount or what?
I think it's just looking at your squad because you've conceded 18 this season. Last season, last season was better, but already after 8 games, you conceded 18 goals. So that to me is an obvious issue in the defense.
Agreed.
And looking at your keeper as well, this guy should be a backup at most, I think. I feel like you can definitely
Agreed.
find a better goalkeeper. I don't look at the goalkeepers, but I feel like you could find a better one
I,
immediately.
I have been trying. That's just been difficult so far. I just haven't been able to find anyone I can afford and who wanted to come. Because when I bought Simons, the thinking was he would be the backup with kind of the thinking that he might come into the team as a regular at some point. But obviously I had to sort of fast track him into the team. To be fair, part of the reason was because the guy I brought in to be first choice on loan last year was injured for quite a long time. And he came in, and as you can see on my screen now, he did really well. But I agree, he's not as good. He's not really ready yet. And maybe I should have taken that sort of half season with a bit of a pinch of salt last year.
I think you also did sell your starting. You sold Impoto, and I think Impoto is really good.
Did I sell Poto?
You
Yes,
sold
I did.
Impoto.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't bad. I didn't think he was great. And you can see he's not done brilliantly at Chipper either. They got relegated, admittedly, but still.
Yeah, but his attributes are really good.
But if you
Like,
look, if you look at his performances when he was with us, he was my first choice keeper for two
yeah,
and a half years.
but you looking at what you've done last season, you've conceded, what was it, 36 goals? I mean, 36 goals, 30 games. I mean, it's not bad, but
I mean, I agree. At the moment, I agree that the defence is where we need more. I completely agree with you, and I
and
was
then
trying to get better.
and then
better
the first
defenders in than that.
season you conceded 61. So I feel like you can't really fault him. Also, I knew and I think he was being rotated in and out.
Well, as I say, yeah, I mean, with Mpoto, yeah, I think he got a couple of injuries, but yeah, and he was rotated as well. I think I had someone else. I can't remember who it was, but yeah,
Because even in the season before, you've got your 23 games conceded, 25, 7 clean sheets, not bad. 25, 26, 12 appearances, 16 conceded, 4 clean sheets is not bad. Like, the only bad season he had was when you guys conceded, what was it, 60 something goals, played in 16 games, conceded 32. That's bad. And then now he's bad because he was playing on a bad team, obviously, because they got relegated.
yeah, that's fair.
So I feel like when looking at the keeper, I feel like I just look at one-on-ones and reflexes. 14 on both, I think, is amazing for a South African goalkeeper in the South African League. I think he just needed a better defense in front of him. I think that was it.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then looking at, I think the tactic. I think I pointed out that Regista as a lone DM, kind of an interesting choice.
I remember now. Yeah,
The only time I'd play with the Registas alongside another midfielder. And then also Gima, he's top earning at the club. He has good mentals and everything. But looking at what you have on your team, I feel like midfielders weren't. I think you had enough midfielders because you've also sold a bit, and Zwane is really good. he has worse mental stats, but if you just look at technicals and vision, for a DM, I just look at his passing vision, tackling technique. It's not bad compared to Gima, but
I
yeah,
think one of the reasons was like he kept getting injured, Zwane.
Ramen.
Yeah, so that was why I wanted to get
Yeah,
someone else in. Um, but yeah, and this guy Cisse, who looks decent, he never quite did it when he came back in. I mean, to be fair, he was quite good at times last year.
yeah. I just think there's a lot of like good options out there that
Yeah,
would
so I might
are probably
maybe that's
cheaper.
another example of like, yeah, he might be the best of the defensive midfielders, but is he worth the extra money that I'm paying for him?
I mean that, and like, he'd probably be one of the best on your team. I liked Coop's that performed. I think with his passing and vision, he's like a perfect deep line playmaker or just like an offensive midfielder, like an offensive eight.
Hmm.
And then also with EMA's taking up like 1/10 of your wage budget almost. I don't. And then do I want to spend 1/10 of my wage budget on a DM? I don't think I would.
Fair.
I'd rather like if you brought in like a like not a world class striker, but I feel like if it was like a player that looks too good to be in the South African division that you can get on your team, that's when I'd like break the bank. And I don't think Gima is that guy.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, I think he's good. The mentals obviously is what kind of brought me to him.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I agree. He's not like wow good either.
yeah. And then, oh, yeah. So with the tactic, I mean, it's working better
Hmm.
than what you've had before, but I still think there are some things you could change. So I first, so I, I, I feel like okay, defensive roles you switched. So you have a wing back on attack, and then a full back on defend. And then reduce the box to box, advanced playmaker. Um, I wouldn't like this because in build up you probably have like a 3-1-3-1-6 almost,
Hmm.
and that doesn't really work in FM. I don't think, in my opinion, from what I've
So
like played with.
so perhaps if we had this box to box being a deeper role and having the AP as a lone central midfielder, would that work better?
Um, if I look at your lineup, you have Maduna who looks like he's an offensive eight.
Yeah. No. I mean, obviously
Um,
the players would be different.
with Saka, he's supposed to be a winger,
Yeah.
but
No.
he might also be an
He's
offensive
not
eight.
the player I've been using there mostly. He was in there. I think someone was injured. As you can see, we've got a whole load of injuries at the moment. So I think it'd be someone like Koopstad probably.
Koopstad, okay.
I
So
mean,
Koopstad,
I think
Maduna.
it would have been Zwane and Maduna, but Zwane's injured, as you can see.
Okay, so you have Koopstad, Maduna. Okay, so I'd either play, I'd either have a really like uh not a defensive midfield with overlapping wing backs here, or I'd have offensive ace with inverted wing backs here.
Right. Okay. Makes sense.
Because you, for your build-up structure, you either want I ideally want a double pivot. Even the more you have in your midfield is the better, but you just don't want to overcrowd it. And then you also want to have a balance between, um, I guess, all your midfielders together. So when you have a regista box to box and attack an advanced playmaker on attack, I feel like your midfield would run empty almost.
Because the box to box would be getting forward alongside the AP when we're attacking, and the Regista would just
And
stay
then
back.
the regista is essentially an aggressive deep line playmaker. So
Yes.
so basically giving him, you basically he's also sort of allowed the permission to go a bit higher compared to a deep line
So
playmaker.
I mean, and anyway, it's probably not his best role anyway. So I'm thinking for if we are, I mean, obviously Guima's going to be the player there. Would you have him? I mean, looks like the game certainly thinks he's going to be either a defensive midfielder, ball winning midfielder, or a halfback. Which role would work best? Sort of if we're assuming we don't want to change this too much, we just want to tweak it because obviously familiarity matters.
If you want to keep it like this, I probably have a ball.
Ball winning.
I have him on a. Have him on a. You could. You could move him into the midfield. You can have him. This is what you can do. You can have Koopstat as your DM on deep line playmaker on defend. Have Dima as a ball-winning midfielder on support. You have Maduna on a central midfielder on attack.
Okay.
And then
almost never
this
use
would
that
allow have Maduna on the left side because your winger's on the left side, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you have your winger on the left side. So then the right winger you can have on inverted winger.
Yep.
And then that would allow Phillips through. And then this would be a 3-2-5, like a 3-1-6, but since Gima's on a
should be
ball-winning midfielder.
Surely 4 in the back if Coop, because with a defensive role, Koopstat would be staying back as well, wouldn't he? So we'd have the 3.
He's not going to be in your defensive line. He'd be
a bit further. Right. Okay. Fair enough.
In defensive line, and then Gima would be. He wouldn't go up, but
he'd be sort of like very much in the midfield area.
He's like an 8 who would.
So it'd be sort of 3-2-5 up front.
3-2-5, 3-2-6 sometimes depends on Gima, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then I don't know. I feel like this would work better.
Yep.
And
that makes sense.
Normally, I don't have that many attacking roles as for a winger or inverted winger. Because basically the difference between a winger and support and attack is one, he's trying to look for a cross, and the other, he's trying to basically try to do run out the defense and whatever. So I mean, I guess with Karelzy not being able to head the ball, it's fine having a winger on attack, but the inverted winger, I feel like I think you want the inverted winger on support, and then the wing back also on support. I think this would work pretty good.
Okay, so you'd still have 3 on attacking roles with 3 supports as well, and 4 defensive. Well, 5 if you include a defender.
I mean, with attacking roles, it's not like they're going to be the only players attacking.
No, I get that. Yeah. I'm just thinking about numbers. So great.
And then looking at the in possessions, well, if you want to keep possession more, I'd probably change I think directness affects possession more so than tempo, but I'd probably turn off distribute quickly with goalkeeper in possession. I'd probably turn that off, and then everything else is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then
out of interest, why would you say that one was like the distribute quickly? What was the reason for that?
I feel like, I mean, you're playing at a high tempo already.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you need
so it's just
to
overkill
distribute quickly. I mean, I feel like with I don't know. I just feel like when you're asking the goalkeeper to distribute quickly, I mean, it doesn't allow your players to get into position.
Right. Okay.
I mean, because when you're, let's say, defending a counterattack, you only have, let's say, your center backs, your full back, one DM back, and then the others are slow come to get back. If you ask them to distribute quickly, I mean, I feel like it doesn't allow time for them to organize themselves.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I feel like you'd be more vulnerable to another counterattack.
Yep, Completely makes
and
sense.
then you're already on a higher tempo. Usually, I don't have my tempo on the highest setting.
So maybe just slow it down a little bit.
The only slow it down because when you have it on a higher setting, again, it's basically you're just playing for a counterattack.
I mean, the reason I did the reason I
you.
did that was specifically because of the intensity issue, just to try and make it as intense as possible. And I assume that makes. I mean, it doesn't actually make a lot of difference, to be fair. So maybe that makes sense.
No, also with intensity, it's just basically just gotta be pressing. So
Yeah, which I'm doing. I am now
different
doing.
press makes it more intense. Higher line makes it more intense. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then
Anything else
and
I should be
then
doing on
the
this
passing
screen?
directness. Anything I would change?
On this screen specifically?
Uh, yeah, just tempo.
No, sorry, on the out of
It
possession screen.
depends if you want to be playing out of possession.
Mhm.
No, nothing more.
Yeah.
If it depends on the tactic, but sometimes I have step up more, but doesn't really matter. I don't think you want that now.
I've got a pretty high line
Especially with
anyway, so it's not. I mean,
these kind
you
of guys.
can't step up much more than that, can you? They're pretty much at the halfway line. I don't know how accurate that depiction is, but
So I when I play the 4-2-3-1, or I have a much higher line and step up more, they're probably stepping up past like the halfway circle on their side of the pitch. So they're basically you have all 10 players above the halfway line and above like the semicircle above it too.
wow. Okay,
So
so yeah,
that's how
that's
far
probably
they
pushing
go.
it a bit too
And then
far. But okay,
I mean it works because for counters they can't even really have a counter when their striker is not even at the halfway line.
true. Yeah.
So
I'm confused about. So on this, it seems odd to me that it's possible to have a much higher defensive line and tell your defensive line to drop off more. Like how? How does that work? Like what would happen?
drop off more.
So you have options to step up more and drop off more, but if you've got a much higher defensive line and drop off more, what would that do? Because if it's dropping off more, then that's not such a high defensive line, surely. It just seems odd that that's even
I haven't
possible.
tried that before.
Yeah, I'm not intending to. It just seems odd that it's
That
possible to
doesn't
do
really
it.
make sense.
No, you're right. It doesn't make sense. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I don't know what happened. Yeah.
I
and
wonder
then
as well.
when you're saved,
Go on.
when conceding crosses, it's a mixture of your defense not being tall enough and their jumping reach being not good. So, like with the two other defenders I've suggested, one's like 6'3" with how much jumping reach does he have? He had a decent amount of jumping reach. I think it was like 13, which is really good. McCarthy, yeah, 13 jumping reach at 6'3". Nobody's gonna be winning a header against him, like maybe once out of 20 times. And below you, 14 jumping reach, 6'1", 6'2", and I mean nobody's gonna be winning a header against him either.
Yeah.
So mainly it's just jumping reach with the center backs, whereas heading is just how accurately they head it.
Right.
And it
Okay. So
doesn't
if
matter,
it's
what's the point
just
of
about
hesitating
defensive,
to
it's
head it accurately if
yeah.
you're not even gonna win the header.
Right. Okay. So Fleur's defensive heading reach isn't great, and Nor's crosses is okay, but it's nothing special. So yeah, I can see why that's something
But
that
he's
I'm
6 foot.
working. Yeah, 6 foot. I've got 185. That's about 6 foot, isn't it? Yeah. 183. Is Cross just under 6 foot?
183 is 6 feet, I think, on the dome.
183. So that would make Fleur's 6'1".
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Fine. Okay. So yeah, they're tall, but perhaps not quite tall enough to be effective as I want them to be.
No, because so the other two I suggest are slightly taller,
Mhm.
and then slightly and way taller with way better jumping reach.
And
14 in the South African League would be amazing.
Yeah, this guy
Jumping reach wise,
Ndluli,
that's really good.
he's not as good technically, but I'm wondering whether he might be a better fit for the team now because he's taller, quite a lot taller. 14 jumping reach. He's obviously going to get better as well.
And he's fast too.
And he's fast. Well, fast enough. He's not that quick.
And he's rapid.
So would you use this guy then rather at the centre back? Because the heading's not great, but as you say, that may not matter if he's. Well, I don't know. Does it matter?
What? Sorry.
So this guy Mdluli, who I've got, he's 18.
Mdluli.
Physically fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder whether the fact that his heading is 9.
Oh
is a
yeah.
problem.
Oh yeah. Start him.
Yeah. Even with the lower heading.
See him. Start him. Yeah.
Okay.
He's
So he's better than Cross.
It doesn't matter.
He's suspended for the next game, but yeah.
As a center back, out of all of them, I'd start him. He's tall. He has 14 jump. His pace is. You can develop his pace. That's no issue. He has good determination.
That's already his focus, yeah.
Teamwork, work rate. I mean, I'd start him. Concentration's okay. Bravery could be higher. I'd start him, yeah.
Yep. Okay. So maybe instead of Cross.
In over Cross. He's better than Cross.
Yep. Okay. Well, I'll do that then. Thank you to whoever just followed. For some reason I can't see why. I haven't got a notification, so I don't know who you are, but thank you anyway. Cheers. Okay. Well, that's certainly something to be getting on with. Anything else other than tactics that you think could be interesting?
Oh yeah. Also, you should have signed the left back. I was looking through.
Oh, again, I was trying. This guy was just literally the best I could find. Like you probably have found someone better, but I just couldn't see anyone. Kabini is probably my first choice, but I agree he's not good enough.
You could what you could do is probably start Mdluli as center back, put Cross as a left back on inverted fullback, and that way they'd form a back three.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah.
And then you move Fleurs into the left center back because he has a better left foot. Have Mdluli on a ball playing defender. What's his passing? 10. Yeah, it's okay, not good.
So we do. Sorry, inverted fullback. I don't know. Ever used an inverted fullback?
Yeah.
That basically is just a centre back who starts a bit wider, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, basically.
Fine. Okay. Well, we can do that then. Does it matter? Like, oh yeah, no. So ignore me. So we can then use Sabir as a backup for the moment. Sabir is actually not a bad centre back. He's really tall as well. In fact, actually, is this guy even better than the last guy? I think he might be.
Yeah.
Let's compare them. It's close, isn't it?
Yeah, I put Sabia over Fleurs, to be honest. Fleurs.
Okay, so right. I mean, for the moment they're both playing anyway. But so you reckon Sabia and Mdluli will be my kind of best two to be playing at the moment?
Yeah, left-footed center back, right-footed center back. Yeah.
Fab. Okay. Awesome.
I like that more. I didn't see him either. I like that way more.
I mean, I knew he was there, but obviously he's suspended at the moment. He's been injured, I think.
Yeah. So now you have two tall center backs, and one has like 14 jumping reach. I mean, if you give up a cross, I mean, it's just, it is what it is at that point. But I think this would work better.
Super. Well, let's see how that goes then. As you say, like we've had a fairly indifferent start so far. Too many draws. We've only lost once, I think. No, twice. Sundowns as well.
You lost twice, drew twice. Conceded. I hate the 18 goals conceded in 8 games.
Yeah, there's a lot. We've conceded a lot.
You've conceded the second most behind the last place team.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good.
And you look at the cup games as well. Like we just got spanked by the Sundowns in the MTN final. Admittedly, I didn't play that game. I simmed that game because it doesn't matter to me. But still, it's not a good sign.
But I don't think it would count towards your league.
No, it makes no difference. But still, it's still not a good sign, is it?
No.
Great. Okay.
I'm kind of curious to see how this would work against the Kaiser Chiefs.
Okay. Do you want to stay on stream while I play it?
Sure, I'll watch.
Might as well.
Also, when you're ahead at the very end, instead of putting the lower line, what I would do is just turn on time wasting to the max, turn down your tempo all the way, and then just keep it like that.
Just slow and waste
'Cause I-
time, nothing else.
Exactly. That's what I would do.
Because what I tend to do is mentality as well, but you would leave that where it is.
No. The most I change it to is balanced, but
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know I almost never go to defensive, but I often go to cautious. But you reckon stay at balanced?
That's what I normally do.
Okay. I do. I mean, I always wonder whether there's any situation where very defensive is a good idea, because I can barely remember a time when I've used it and it's kind of really properly worked.
No, I always use positive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, yeah. I mean, I'm thinking kind of towards the end when you're trying to sort of see out a game, and you perhaps, but very
I think
defensive
balance
just
or
never seems
cautious
to work.
would be enough.
Yeah. Right. Let's see what happens against Kaiser Chiefs then. I'm going to have to watch this again later once Chris gets the editing done, because I'm not going to remember everything you just said today.
Also, make sure to train the position and their roles, because I'm looking through, none of them were being trained for a specific role. And that would
really?
help with
They
the
were at one point. I wonder why that changed. Strange. I'll have a look at
Because
that.
that would help with the familiarity with the tactic. Looking at because look at Karelzy, he's not being trained. Cross isn't being trained. Diamonds isn't being trained.
I'll look into it. As I say, I think I did do it at one point. Maybe it reset at the start of the season or something.
It should carry over.
I might have accidentally clicked on some kind of recommendation or something, I imagine. Would you generally ignore recommendations about training and so on?
Recommendations from what?
From staff.
Assistant?
Well, assistant or any other staff.
I don't know. I just usually would go for quickness as the additional focus, anyways. And then for the roles, I just train them for what they're playing. So
yeah. Okay.
I never really listened. No.
Fair enough. So essentially you never change the training. It's always just quickness plus roll.
Basically, I try something else if they were like really rapid.
So yeah, if you feel like you've kind of maxed out their speed, then maybe. But
yeah.
Because presumably, given that we're pressing all the time, pace is perhaps the most important single attribute
Also,
for all of the players. Isn't
pace is probably the most important attribute on this game in general.
That's always true as well, isn't it? Particularly in a relatively low league as well. I think it's slightly less important the higher up you go in terms of, like, in the Premier League, it's a bit less important, but it's always important, obviously.
Not bad. Oh, what's the width we're playing right now?
What's the width?
Fairly wide.
Fairly wide.
No crosses. Could be okay.
We've been a bit unlucky. They've had 3 shots and scored twice. Our XG is okay.
I put on work into the box, and then
yeah, that makes sense. I put that on quite a lot. When we haven't been creating as many chances as I feel like we need to.
I feel like you should always have that on.
Always? Okay.
60% possession.
We're obviously going to lose this, but if I can get a goal or 2 back, it'd be nice.
Yeah,
keeping the ball nicely. It's a good ball.
Yeah.
Get in. It's better.
Yeah, I think it's better. Because, it built up.
Yeah, and you could see that they weren't just sort of desperately looking for a shot, which they perhaps might have done before. And we've now actually got more XG than them.
I mean, the play was really good in between it.
Agreed. Right, substitutions time, I think. It's one thing I've definitely been trying to do more of, just making substitutions a bit earlier and just making sure that I make 5 pretty much every game. Or else it's not having a great game.
Putting on the fit players when everybody else is tired.
Yeah.
That's basically it. I wouldn't force it if everybody's fit.
No, but you can see that there's quite a few people. Generally speaking, is there anything wrong with just making all 5 at once?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't do that, right?
Do all 5 at once. I'd probably do it
2-2-1 is sort of the
separately. 2-2-1, 2-3, something like that. But even 3 is a lot. But I wouldn't go all 5 at once, never.
I mean, usually the only time I do that is if like the game's over at half time, either we're winning or we're losing badly, and then I'll just change it all, and usually I just sim the game after that. But
yeah.
If there's something on the game, I very rarely make 5 at once, or if I do, it's because I've forgotten and making them too late.
I think also I think it's too late now, but like I would have maybe changed it to fairly narrow for this game.
Why was that?
Because I usually go by how opposition plays.
Mm-hmm.
So they have 2 wingers, a wingback, and a fullback, and I feel like if you just played fairly narrow, that's what I usually do.
And so when it says play fairly narrow, is that just offensively? Because what you just said makes sense offensively, but it also means right. So it's only in possession. That's good then, because then in that case I definitely agree. I can see why that would work. I would just be thinking, well, could it also leave us vulnerable? But no, is the answer basically. I have to say that second half was really good. First half not so much, but the second half was good.
And I think just work the ball into the box.
Right. Okay. So and you think to just have that on all the time. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, like if you look at the stats, this game was winnable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, mainly because we played so much better in the second half than the first, but still.
Yeah. And but I feel like if we had both Mdluli with Sabia at the back, give them, and then you train the players in their roles, so the tactical familiarity is full. Familiarity is full.
Let's do that now.
Even with because if you look at it, the position, like the roles, it's not fully. They're not all fully it's not fluid, so it's just competent. So you need to I feel like you need to do that.
So left backs, inverted fullback defend. Let's just do that first. It's a role I've never ever used before. That be interesting to see how it works.
And then for your right winger, I mean, inverted winger is okay, but I think inside forward is a bit more attacking if you wanted it like that.
Okay. And works for Cupido because he's got decent finishing, hasn't he?
She's basically a striker too.
Yeah.
So
so still on support though.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I mean, with Cupido, I think attacking would be better for him.
Fine. Actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put it on support, but then I'll make it personalised for him so that everyone else will be. It's a useful little tip for anyone who's new. If you've got a formation which is generally one way, but with certain players it works slightly differently, you can do that. It's really helpful. There you are. Even I can give tips. Right. I was doing this training, wasn't I?
And then I feel like the next game in the first round of the cup, I think if you play Kaiser Chiefs again, I think that's a win.
Let's hope so.
And then, I mean, that game you still conceded 3. I feel like that's still not good, but
it's definitely not. But you know, hopefully this is something that will get better and better as we go. So it's not gonna instantly kind of make it better, is it?
I think you could salvage it in the next season's transfer window.
Yeah, agreed.
Or like during the winter.
Basically, what you reckon is, I mean, do you still think we need centre backs, even though we've decided that 2 of them are quite good? What are our roles for centre backs? No,
I
one no
mean,
nonsense, one centre back. All right.
I'd probably have him on central defender.
Both of them.
I think central defender I'd use. I never really use no nonsense. Usually in my saves I'd always go ball playing defenders,
Yeah, not these guys are nowhere near good enough though.
I mean even then in all my saves, no, even in India I still used ball playing
Really?
defenders. In Korea I still use ball playing defenders. It's not like they will make a mistake, but I mean I
So you reckon I
they're
should?
all
Do
gonna
you,
make
do you
a
reckon I should
mistake.
make them ball playing?
I mean you could try.
Let's see what
I
happens.
don't know.
See what happens. As you say, they will probably make mistakes, but maybe it might create us a little bit better in terms of making better chances.
I feel like they'd always make a mistake anyways.
Well, quite, yeah. Right, so that changes now to ball playing defender. I wish there was a way to get like to kind of set everyone to like everyone in a certain position to the same role. It would be so much easier.
I guess, yeah.
This seems unnecessarily complicated. Right back was wing back attack. It's another thing I'm going to need to think about. I think in the transfer market is getting backup for Keenan Phillips because he's really good, but I haven't got anyone else really to play in that position. It would have to be De Good or Sivia, who are clearly not attacking fullback.
Yeah, you need a backup right back and a new keeper, 100%.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I knew I needed a new keeper. Don't worry, that was not in doubt. Do we think Bradley Cross is going to be better to train as a left back or a centre back?
I mean, he's playing the left back position now, so left back.
Is he? You're absolutely right. Inverted fullback. Although, as we said, they're fairly similar roles anyway, aren't they?
Inverted fullback, yeah, I guess, yeah.
Cisse is DLP defend.
Oh, and then I think when you change him over, he still has run wide with ball on.
Nope. He's got to sit narrower.
No? Okay. Yep.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah, he does. Yep. We don't want him to cut inside either, though, do we? We just leave that off.
Just leave that off. Yeah.
Right. Cisse. That was D player. Yes. Guima, we've decided to use as a ball winning support. Koopstad. I reckon Koopstad. Oh, yeah, he's a deep line player to defend, isn't he? So it's done. Swanee is obviously back up, but I reckon probably the central midfielder attack. Do you agree? Central midfielder attack for Swanee? Maybe not actually.
Yeah, I mean, out of all of them, central midfielder
Yeah, I
attack
think so.
seems best, yeah.
This guy, I might use this guy as the ball winning midfielder, I think, because he's no, but a central midfielder attack as well. Yeah, definitely. Tackling's not great, but other than that, technicals are absolutely spot on. Meduna presumably will be the attacking one, which is central midfield attack again. I've got too many of them really, but never mind. You're absolutely right. I've overdone it with midfielders.
Yeah.
With that in mind, let's train Sifama as a backup inside forward attack. Cupido already is inside forward attack. But Saka could be a left-sided winger, isn't it? Winger support. always difficult to know with these people who are kind of backups for several different positions. It's always difficult to know which one to train him as, I think.
Yeah. I feel like with the training, I think it's too much for the players.
So take some of the training down a bit, like the general training, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hadn't been looking at that for a while, so that makes sense.
I feel like the players are just getting injured from training. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah. No, I that probably just was because I haven't been looking at it enough. And why is being traded a poacher? I've never used a poacher in this game. Right. Okay. So that's all done, and then that goes to general training. Calendar. Right. So I'm going to take off. You like max practices, don't you? You think that's a good thing? I'll leave that on. Just take out some of these ones. Rest. I'm going to do a bit more quickness. Rest. Do. Match review. I wish there was a way to just set that to default to always do a match review.
Match review. I mean, match practice is enough. I don't think you really need a match review.
From what I've seen, it does wonders for the fluidity, and it doesn't cost anything in terms of physicals. So I just don't see any reason not to. Practice. Let's do a match practice there. There we are. That's a little less demanding on them. Let's get rid of these shadow plays. Don't need them.
And yeah, the more you play with the tactic, and then keep, because also in the transfer window you had a high influx of ins and outs.
Yeah.
And so
it is going to take a little while to settle down.
That would affect team cohesion and yeah, and that would affect performances.
Yeah.
And then I just looked at the dynamic screen, like even your players are thinking the squad hasn't been strengthened, and the goalkeeping department is lacking in quality. So
that I completely agree on. I mean, I did try and get a better one, literally couldn't find one. And also money obviously is an issue. You're clearly right about thinking about ways I can spend money a bit more wisely. I think about Guima. I like him a lot. I think he's going to do very well, but I don't think he was worth it.
Yeah, I think it's just looking at what you have as well, and then you've let a lot. Like, I think you couldn't, like, when you look at Mpoto, I don't think you would find a better keeper than Mpoto. And then when you look at let's say, what's his face? When you look at like Ndaba and Kasi, I think they're both really good still, and they were both fairly young. Well, Kasi wasn't, but yeah. So obviously in hindsight, sure, but like when comparing Karelzi and Ndaba, I think if I had to spend money to get Karelzi, I'd just stick with Ndaba, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see why you think that. That makes sense.
Yeah, and then looking at your score, because you don't have a backup keeper on your bench.
No, I don't. I just got to the point where there was no one I could afford. As you can see, we got nothing to spend at the moment at all.
Yeah, once an injury hits.
Yep. No, I'm aware. We have a couple around. They're not great, but they're around. If we just put it.
I'm under 21s. You have one.
So there's only three. There's only three at the club. Let's get this guy up because we're going to need him at some point. There you are. He's on the bench.
Only three at the club.
As I say, that very much wasn't deliberate, but yeah. And you reckon, in terms of the focus, if I just set them all as a default to quickness and then just change it if and when I feel like it's needed.
I wouldn't even change it here.
Wouldn't even do that. Okay.
I don't think they develop quickness that fast enough anyways, because if we just look at their base current ability and potential ability, it's probably not that high. So let's say their current ability is like 100 and their potential ability is like 112. After you generate quickness and other like traits other like attributes through, even after like 4 or 5 seasons, quickness probably will go up by what, 2, 3 at most.
Right.
I think
So it's not worth worrying about. Maybe for the younger players.
You see the results.
Is it worth doing perhaps for all the players under about 22, perhaps?
I mean, if I just look at I'd probably just do it for my first team squad anyways, but I mean, they're not gonna develop that much quickness anyways because of like the player and their quality.
Sure.
Because they have to be like a world-class player on like a world-class team, and they take like multiple seasons in order to see like an obvious growth. So this is just a quick way to get 1 or 2, but yeah.
So training at this level anyway, training is more about just getting the team cohesion and all that sort of thing rather than actually improving the players per se.
Yeah, you could look at it like that.
Right. That makes sense. Great. Okay. Well, that means I don't need to spend ages and ages thinking about specific training regimes then.
No, definitely not. No.
Great. Okay. I think is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you'd like to touch on? So we've been going for an hour now, so this is going to be great for the content.
No, I kind of want to see you play the Kaiser Chiefs again.
Yep.
Because I feel like
cool.
you do,
Let's play that one.
I feel like you can win.
Yeah, it certainly feels like we're better.
And make sure the work into ball box is on.
I think I've done that already.
Yeah.
Let me just check though.
Yep.
Yeah, I have. We've then got Orlando Pirates as well. So 2 tough games in a row, away as well, both of them. So if we can get results out of these ones, then clearly something's going well.
Yep.
Oh, I'm going to have to go through this whole video again later with a pen and pencil.
I mean,
as I said before, this is not really about this save, it's about learning things. I mean, presumably most of what we've talked about today applies to any team. I know there's 1 or 2 things that's been like, because of the low ability, but for most of these things it would apply to any team.
Well, yeah, 100%.
Of course, we're only a couple of days away from finding out who we're going to be playing with next. Are you playing in the next edition, by the way? I don't think I've asked you.
Next edition, no.
Starting on Sunday? No, you're not. Okay, that's fine.
No. That was quick. Next edition.
Looks to me that we probably jet down to 2 divisions for this one, which is fine.
Oh yeah.
So it hopefully means that we'll have a little bit more competitiveness.
Yeah.
I'd rather have 2 divisions where everyone's submitting every year than 4 divisions where hardly anyone is.
Oh yeah.
Right. Let's see what have we got. We are going to lose to Kazi, by the way, at the end of the season, sadly.
No, really?
Yeah. I might try and sell him if we can in January. I don't know if it'll be possible, but if I can sell him in January and get some money in, it would make a big difference. But Sitole has been doing really well, to be fair. If you look at Sitole's season so far, he's ready to step up, I think.
He looks good, but you're starting to cousin Capito. So, I think I just ride it out this season, just let him go on a free, because I don't think
there's nothing I can do. There's not.
Will make a difference.
It depends how much we can get for him. If you can only get 20,000, I agree. But if we can get,
I think even for what is he worth, 100,000? I think just balancing out, like weighing in your performance with and without him, I think it's better to have to play with him.
Well, you say that, but he's not setting the world alight. Cupido is, but he's not doing brilliantly to Kazi. And as I say, what's his name? Sitole is doing really well. He's actually doing better than him.
I mean, he's averaging a 7.8 0-2 in the league. That's what it says for me. So
For who?
Well, that was before the previous game, but he's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
And then with the role he's playing, I mean, you don't expect that many goals from a winger versus an inside forward.
No, but we would hope for a few more assists, I think, than he would be getting. Particularly because he should be one of our best players.
That's also based off of who you have playing up top too.
True. Good start.
Yeah, so with the inside forward, look how much space Phillips has.
Gives loads of space for Phillips.
Like a winger or an inverted
Phillips is going to he's going to do bits from now on, isn't he? He's going to get loads of assists like that.
Yeah, because immediately you saw in possession how Cupido just started to immediately go for that half space.
Yeah.
Yeah, good ball.
That's what I want. 0.28 xG shot. That's pretty good. You don't get much better than that without a penalty, do you?
You can get. I've seen higher.
Oh, you can. I think I've seen 0.9 shots, but other than absolute tap-ins. There you go. Cupido, 2-0.
Yeah.
Sounds to me like you might be a little bit behind on the stream. Am I right?
Yeah.
Sorry. I'll try to stop the commentary.
No, it's all right.
But it's looking very good.
Yeah, keeping the ball.
Yeah.
Corner. He's got 2 corners already. I mean.
3 now. Oh, yeah, sorry, you're behind.
Good passing completions. I mean, possession doesn't really matter as well if you're winning.
No, you're right. It doesn't. But it's still a good sign, though. Particularly against a big team. If I'm dominating the ball, that's a good sign. I did win this cup last year, of course. And with Kaiser Chiefs potentially going out, it will give us a good chance of retaining the trophy.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how you do against Orlando Pirates too, because string of hard fixtures.
Yeah, no, we've got.
But immediately, if you look, it's a 3-back.
He's one of my old players as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the star means he came through my academy.
Okay, and he scored.
60 grand. It's only his third league start. Yeah, it was offside, but third league start for them, and it's against his old team.
He looks pretty. I saw what striker? You looked okay.
Get in, Capito. We're absolutely battering them here.
Yep.
Yeah, God, he has developed well, hasn't he? I mean, I got rid of him ages ago. He played 14 really games and got 2 goals for me.
He could have been your striker. And
he's developed really well. He's developed really well.
You get points for playing him too.
Yeah, of course. I didn't think he was going to develop as well as that, to be fair.
Development just comes down to game time. Yeah, now it's like the 60th minute. That's where I make like 5 subs.
Yep, I'm doing it now.
to protect your players. Also for substitutions, I'd usually go at the 60-minute mark.
Yeah, to be honest, so would I, but it's too late. Those last 10 minutes had no highlights, so kind of went very quickly. Obviously, at this stage, 3-0 up, I'm just getting all the youngsters on for those points.
Yeah.
Good. And I'm going to just sim the rest of the game now on the basis that we're trying to get through it quickly. Right, Orlando Pirates. Now this, of course, the further challenge here is that we've only got 3 days. So what I'm going to do is...
Go on. Yeah.
I'm gonna.
What I do is just go into, like the timeline button, like right next to you could just, if you go on the current date, there's a drop down arrow, and then it says rest all players, and then just go 3 days, boom. Go to hover over the current day, so hover over Saturday 17th.
Wow. That's the first time I've found a new feature on FM for ages. That's really good.
3 days.
That's much quicker. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I mean, the only problem with that is that, I mean, you're probably going to tell me it doesn't matter, but that means that even the players who weren't playing and therefore I would quite like them training won't be training.
Yeah.
Do you think that just doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter.
Fine.
The best way they get better is by playing games anyways.
Yeah, fair.
Missing out on 3 days training isn't gonna do much.
Yep, fair enough. And there's no problem with the fact that they then literally haven't touched a football in 3 days, given that the next game was 3 days away.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
You played a game 3 days ago, so
yeah.
You've done just imagine playing the game as you're training for the week.
Does that mean then that if I have got, I mean, should I be defaulting then to literally no training at all if I've got 2 games in a week?
If you have 3 games in a week, I just rest all my players.
2 games in a week.
Like 2 games in a week depends on how spaced out they are. But
so yeah, for this one, obviously we've rested them for these couple of days, but like these next couple of weeks, should I just get rid of all of the? Should I just do that?
No. So between Orlando Pirates and Swallows, that's 3 days. I think that's enough rest. But if it's like 2 days.
Right. Okay. So this one here.
Sometimes you go for the rest then.
So maybe this one here we clear it.
And if they played like consecutively multiple games in a row, I'd also rest. Right.
So maybe here this week here, the 26th of October to the 1st of November. Reckon that's worth clearing?
I feel like it's just for 4 games in 2 weeks. I think that's good enough because after that it's pretty easy. So I'd only go for this because it's also up against a big team. But
right. Okay.
It depends on how good your squad is and how good your squad depth is, because looking at your squad now, I don't think your reserves could do anything.
Okay, I completely agree with you there.
Yeah. But usually, if you have a good enough squad, you can get away with just
almost all of these are just people who
second team.
Yeah, almost all of these people are just people who've been made available for the reserve. They're not actually in the reserves.
Yeah.
Zwane is. I don't know why he's still there. It's weird. Why is Zwane still there? He's not. No, it's just because he's made me available. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, if you look at the reserves, there's hardly anyone there, and they're nowhere near good enough. And the under 21s, no rubbish. Keenan Zulu's okay in the under 19s, but he's not ready yet. Oh God, he's not. He's rubbish. Right, Orlando Pirates, and then we're going to call it a day after this one, yeah.
Yeah. I think Orlando Pirates, you'd also be able to win.
Yeah. I mean, the way we're playing at the moment, I don't see why not. Since half time in that first game we did, it's just been brilliant.
Yeah. Again, with this, you probably want to stick with the same tactic over the season.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I very rarely change my tactic unless there's a good reason to.
Yeah.
I assume for you, do you tend to set the tactic at the start of a save and then just not change it?
Yeah, that's basically what I do.
That's what I kind of assumed. Hello, whoever you are. For some reason, my alerts aren't working, so I can't see who you are. But whoever you are, welcome.
And then if I'm using a new tactic I haven't used before, I probably watch the first game on like extended or comprehensive highlights to see what's happening during the game and then adjust accordingly. But usually if it's a tactic I know and I've used before and I know it works, I just set it and just leave it.
Fine. We have Mdluli back for this, so we can have Mdluli Sabia for the first time. That was the pair we decided to go with, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think since it's the first game back, I might still play Fleurs for this one and slowly ease Mdluli back in.
Fair enough. So put him on the bench.
And you're playing the 12th position squad in the next one, so that
that'd be a good time to bring him in. Yeah, that makes sense.
Blue back in.
That does make sense. Yeah. And presumably Dooley could play as the inverted fullback as well, couldn't he, if necessary, particularly if we have an injury or something.
Dooley's a right back / center back, so I
No,
don't
left.
think he'd work at the
he's left.
center back.
No, he's left.
Sorry, left back, but
he's left. He's a left-sided centre back. Right. Sorry, he's a left back as well as a centre back.
Okay, yeah, he would also work at. Yeah, he would also work as.
It's good to have that backup.
He would also work.
That means that this guy Bassa is going to be a complete waste of time. I mean, I only brought him in as backup anyway, but I wonder if I can terminate. I can't terminate it. It's a shame.
I might as well just keep as squad depth.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to hurt, but I'm hoping I'll never have to use him. He's going to get revenge.
And then sometimes if you're designing a new tactic, sometimes using like a tactic board to like visualize it would be easier.
I saw you doing that in the video. Where was that one?
I just searched up tactic board and just used the first thing that came up. And then just sort of like set it up on how the roles of each like player would work in the tactic. But yeah. Okay, it's probably a goal for them. Yeah. I mean, it's the 11th minute, so I wouldn't change. Like, if I'm in game and like, let's say we're down like 2-0 after like halftime, I might change some things. Like that would probably be in like the player like.
But also we've also had 3 shots for their 1, so it's not like they've been dominating us.
Yeah, exactly.
Admittedly, that was a good chance, but still. The only thing I might have considered there was doing a shout, perhaps, but I have to admit I was looking for a tactics board when they scored.
Also for shouts, I feel like no matter what, I'd always tell them to. I always do demand more.
Oh really? I tend to use encourage quite a lot if we're not winning.
But
tends to almost always work.
But demand more, I think, always works too.
Try it now, then.
From when I used it.
Didn't work for me. Whoa, that's not good. Let's give him encourage, because that does tend to work. Haven't really created anything since the goal, hopefully until now. Go on, Phillips. It's looking better. So they've scored, but we haven't been outplayed or anything. So even if we lose this, I'm not worried.
I might try fairly narrow actually. Like maybe the next chance we can try and change it to fairly narrow. Well, I mean, if you're conceding that goal, like, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Like, that's a stupid way to concede.
It was a bit. Right, I am going to go to fairly narrow, though. I can see why you think that. It's a bit late now, but hey-ho. Andre, I assume it was you who just followed me, so thanks for that. Sorry, for some reason I can't see people following me at the moment. I don't know why. I can hear it, but I can't see it. So apologies for that. Welcome. This is a bit of a tutorial at the moment from our 3-time champion, Vita Soy. Although he will lose his crown shortly because he's not playing.
Yeah. Looks like Ender's gonna win.
It's certainly looking like it might well be him. Yeah, he's had a fantastic season last time. About 40 points better than anyone else has managed all throughout the first 2 seasons. So he's done very well. He has, I think, won it before, although it may have been when it was the World Cup.
It was the qualifiers, I think.
He won the qualifiers, you're right. I think at this point we're probably out of it, aren't we? Given that it's a big team.
No. 2 goals down, you have 45 minutes left. That's enough time.
Anything you change now?
Probably go attacking, increase the tempo. Increase the tempo, increase the directness.
Directness, yeah. Okay. And this is one of the hardest games of the season, so it's not. This is no disaster.
Probably make some subs at the
doing it
sub
now.
off Takazi, sub off Maduna.
It's going to be doing a whole load. I'll do
mean,
three, I think.
Nothing for Phillips. I would probably sub off Phillips even, just for somebody who's energized.
I could play Moloto there. He's virtually a winger anyway, isn't he? So you might as well.
Try it out.
I'm going to do three at a time though.
Throw in. Okay.
Ooh.
You could get a draw out of this too, I think. If you can get one goal.
Let's get Butsaka on because Cupido's having a stinker. Karelsi for Matang. Trying to play this as if I'm still in the competition, and Matang will get me the points. So there's not a lot in it between him and Mango now that he's a bit older. See, demand more again just seems to get them really upset, particularly when we're playing a team who they clearly think are better than them, even if I don't.
I think for my saves, no matter what, I just go with demand more. Even if they get angry, it is what it is.
So when the reactions and the sort of faces down here, do they not matter as much then as I perhaps think? Oh, we've got a goal. Bit late.
Goal. I mean, it's FM. You could probably get another one.
You never know. Oh well. And well, we've got better XG than them, so it's no disgrace that.
I mean, one of the goals he conceded, it was a stupid goal.
Yeah,
like he
agreed.
can the edge of the box.
Yeah.
Eyeball.
Just one of those things, wasn't it?
I think it's just you set up the tactic. It's just it's up to the players to perform, and just don't have the players to perform.
So basically, what you're saying is what I was saying during my previous season when you were watching me is now true. It's just the players.
Yeah. Yeah. Now it's the players. Because if you just look at the goal, you can see that.
It was really stupid. I agree. The other one was just a very, very good goal.
Yeah, the other one, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But that one,
it was just a stupid error.
It should not have gone in, no matter what.
You can see why I'm getting frustrated with Takazi. Look at his form. It's terrible. I'm wondering whether it's time to just bring in Sitole. I think I'm going to do it. Because Sitole, whenever he comes on, he does well. He's got 8 goal contributions in 6 starts.
Yeah.
So I think it's time. Right, Mabasa has actually gone. I couldn't stop his loan, but they've brought him back, so that's good.
Yeah.
No longer so because we got so many left backs, got plenty of them.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 people who can play at left back perfectly well. Right, we said we were going to call it a day there, aren't we?
Yeah.
But I certainly think I can see some massive improvement there. I mean, it seems odd to say when we've literally had 4 games and 3 defeats since you've been on stream, but there's been a clear improvement, hasn't there? Since we first, we didn't even play this one, but since that half time in the Kaiser Chiefs game, which we completely dominated that second half, and then we battered Kaiser Chiefs and then lost slightly unluckily to Orlando Pirates.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that I will.
When I was looking at your screens in the last season, a lot of times you had more XP, you just couldn't score them.
Yeah,
that's a part of the game.
Yeah, of course.
But it also just shows what you set up is working. It's just up to after if you see the numbers are good, then you could go, okay, now it's up to the players to perform. But before, when you have no XP and no shots and blaming the players, I think that's when it's too early to say anything.
Yeah, fair enough.
But
so we're already
now,
underperforming our X points. We're 2 points less than we should be.
Exactly. If you're exactly, that's when you can say, okay, now it's up to my players to
Yeah.
do something because you've set it up well. You set
Basically, if I'm
you set it up
regularly
for them to succeed.
if I'm regularly winning on XG, then that's the players probably. If we're then losing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. You can think
Fair
about
enough.
that, yeah, definitely.
Great. Okay. Well, I think that's pretty good. We've got an hour and a half in the end, which Chris will have to
Yeah.
edit down a bit, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chris. You've got a lot to do today, I think. he's doing a brilliant job, though, is our Chris. Keep this in, please. Keep this bit in. Thank you very much, Vita. Sorry, we will meet again. I'm going to probably continue streaming for now, just for future. You don't have to watch if you don't want to. You're very welcome to. I will speak to you once I finish my next season.
Yeah.
Cool.
Alrighty. Yeah. Also, I like this format too. Yeah.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah, I'm loving this. And as we're already, and if anyone is watching this later, if you're in the FMUL, if you're doing really well, feel free to come and take Vita Soy's place for the next edition, because we're going to need someone to be the tutor. If you're not doing so well, come and do this instead. Come and do me, because this is, as I say, I think this is a really good way of just expanding the league a bit, and actually allowing people to learn about FM as well as just play it. Because I know that although there are some people like you who are clearly just really, really good at FM, there are also some people who just, and this is mainly me, who just really enjoy it. And so, watch these videos and hopefully you'll get better. And I hope that's something that will improve the competition as well. So thanks for all that. Hopefully we'll have someone else to do it next time, but we may have to meet again otherwise. But we'll certainly do another one once I get through this season. So keep an eye on it.
Yep.
Cool. See you soon.
Alrighty. Yep.
Bye for now.